Well, welcome to today's webinar on North Dakota State Library Services Review. My name is Al Peterson, the Outreach Specialist here at the North Dakota State Library, and with me is Tammy Kruger, our School Library Specialist. The purpose of this webinar is to provide an overview of the types of services the North Dakota State Library provides to school media specialists. The North Dakota State Library is in Bismarck, and it's located on Capitol grounds. When people ask me, well, where is the state library? I usually say it's the building with the columns. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And we have patrons that stop in like a regular library. We have patrons that call us. We have also patrons that email us. We serve the entire state with library services. We have a circulating collection, a state documents collection, and we provide databases as well as assistance to libraries and opportunities for grants. We're also the hub of interlibrary loan service in the state. So what that means is when you have a library from another library system. So the state library is part of the Odin system, and we're part of the K-12 consortium, plus public libraries. And so if there was, for instance, the Bismarck Public Library is on a different system, and if there was an Odin library that needed to borrow a book from the Bismarck Public Library, we would coordinate that transaction. We also do interlibrary loan out of state. That's our interlibrary loan department. We'll get materials from 49 out of 50 states. We don't interlibrary loan through Hawaii. However, we do go to Alaska. We have supplied and serviced 10 book vending machines in North Dakota communities that do not have library services. We also provide reference services, and this is a great opportunity for school media specialists that are having difficulty finding a particular book, or have a harder reference question, or need to find articles, or need to help a student with research, and you're not finding what you need to meet those needs in your school library. You can always ask a reference department to enter reference services. We have professional librarians that are able to do research and be able to assist with those types of reference questions. We also have a talking books program here, and that provides free access to specially formatted audiobooks and magazines for students who are unable to read standard print materials because of a visual, physical, or reading disability. We're also able to work with vision specialists from School for the Blind and get them set up on Braille books as well. We have a marketing department. If you need promotional materials such as bookmarks, you need the online resource cards, brochures, you can contact us and we can send materials to you. Under libraries, we have a link to our marketing department. And all these downloadable promotional materials, you can download bookmarks and print them out on your own. You can also, there's downloadable informational sheets. There's an order form here. And here are the different bookmarks that we produce. And when you enter your answer, and you answer the quantity that you need them in. So if you need homework help postcards for an English class, if you need 30 of them, you can enter in 30, 40, however many you need. We have them broken out also by K3, grades 4, 5, 6, 8, and then we also do have some subject ones. What they have is on the back of those cards, they have an area where they can write down the remote access number and password. And then on the front of the card are some recommended online library resources to be used for research. And again, to find that, you would go to our homepage under Libraries Marketing. And we also have a school library specialist who is on the call today. So her name's Tammy Kruger, and I'll let her talk about some of the services that she offers.
Okay, so yes, my name's Tammy. I'm basically your go-to for K through 12. I will admit, if you ask about preschool, I am completely fine with that. I worked early childhood on and off for several years, and they're a fun age. But technically, I am your school age kids. Good questions for me are things about like license renewal requirements, the new library media content standards, just kind of general running of the school library. Now, this is a little bit of a shameless plug, but it is what it is. We have a North Dakota School Librarians Facebook page. And on that page, I have been posting sample lessons for those standards. So if you happen to have Facebook and you haven't joined us yet, please do. If not, and you're a member of Schlib Talk, as I get more things put together for those standards, I'm hoping to send them out in Schlib Talk just in larger groups. I'm also here for site visits, whether it's virtual or it's in person. I am hoping to be able to plan out kind of area site visits quite soon, actually, within the next couple of weeks, where I can go and visit a handful of libraries in one geographic area in North Dakota, chat for 30, 40 minutes. If you have questions while I'm there, please present them. You know, if there's something you want me to quickly look at, I can go ahead and do that. But I'm also completely open to the longer site visits. So if you need help with like book fairs or weeding or cataloging, things along those lines, please feel free to reach out to me. I do post monthly webinars for school librarians, professional development, on a professional development LibGuide as well. And the announcements for that are made on Facebook and Slib Talk. So that's kind of a way to help keep you in the loop of what's going on in school librarianship.
Awesome. And if you need to get a hold of Tammy, there is her contact information. And you can also reach out just using our general telephone number, which is the 800 number, 1-800-472-2104, or the State Lib account, statelib@nd.gov. Contact either one of those and we'll be able to get you to, it's kind of a good starting point to get you to any staff member. But if you want to directly reach Tammy, there is her direct number and her direct email address. Next, I want to talk a little bit about your school state library card. The one thing, and I do want to point this out, if there's any new librarians, new library media specialists, you walked into the job and you are looking for a state library card. There is no physical state library card. There is a library card number, so you can stop tearing up the office looking for a library card. If you don't know the number, you can contact us. We'll be more than happy to get you your library card number and your password. The school state library card will begin with 2310500, and then there'll be a string of digits after that. That card is to be used for ordering materials, checking on your patron record, seeing if you have any holds, fines, seeing if you can make renewals with that through the catalog. One thing we strongly recommend is not giving this card number out to staff and students to access this number and password. Have them work through you on getting books and materials for their classroom. Now, there's another number that is associated with your school, and that is the remote access number. That number is a little differently. It starts with 23125 and then a string of digits afterwards. This number will allow students to access the online library resources from outside the library. And so when they'll come up to the accessing online library resources, they'll get a sign-in page. They have to choose their library. And I just recorded a tutorial on our YouTube channel on how to do that. And with this number, you can hand it out in class. You can get those postcards. That's what we designed as postcards for. You can have the kids write the numbers down on those and keep those postcards. You can make bookmarks. You could simply write it on the board and have the kids take a picture of it. You can pretty much do anything except for posting it on a school website. There's an exception to that. If your school has a password-protected student staff portal, then it's okay to place that number in there because that's not being accessible on just the open internet. So if you misplace or do not know any of these library card numbers, you can either contact Tammy, you can contact the patron services people at the reference desk, and they can get those numbers for you. So our circulation policies for schools, materials in the North Dakota State Library will check out for 8 weeks. We changed that to everything checks out for 8 weeks. It used to be that only our large print checked out for 8 weeks and everything else checked out for 4 weeks. Now everything's going to check out for 8 weeks. For a school library card, the limit of books and other materials that a school can check out at one time is 200 items. And so you can have up to 200 items on your library card. However, the school patron record will be blocked when you have reached 50 active overdues. And so if you have 100 items out, I strongly recommend getting in there, either doing renewals for yourself or contacting us and saying, hey, 12th grade English class is not done doing the research papers. Can you renew all these books? And we can get in there and renew those materials. The North Dakota State Library will send the materials out to your school. We'll box them up, mail them out, and you're just responsible for mailing them back to us. When we borrow items from another library, they usually will follow our circulation policy. The trick on that could be renewals. Sometimes they won't renew items. And so if it's interlibrary loans, we may or may not be able to get renewals on those. And all libraries have the right to reserve items in their collection from interlibrary loans. For multiple copies, we can request up to 10 copies of a particular title. We're only going to make those multiple copy requests within the state. That can get tricky sometimes with different with books, depending on what you're trying to request. The thing that we can't do here is if you need 30 copies of a book for a class, we can only get up to 10. And so we can't get more than that, really. I mean, we can't get 30 copies for one particular class. So if you're used to using KitKeeper's gone away a couple years ago. So all our kits are in our catalog. You could search that by typing in either STEM kit or book kit search term, and it'll bring up all the kits. The book club kits are still can be checked out by anyone. The STEM, STEAM, fairy tale, folktale kits, and outdoor exploration kits, as well as the outdoor game kits, as well as display kits. Those can be checked out by any schools, libraries, as well as organizations and institutions. The limit on kits is still 3. The loan period is going to be 8 weeks for the kits. And then borrowers are responsible for paying for any lost or damaged components. That could include the instruction books, any electronic component parts, charging cords. There is normal wear and tear. We're not going to charge you if the batteries are dead. But if it's a 25-piece kit and it comes back in 150 pieces, we're going to have to charge you some damage fees for that. Borrowers are responsible for paying the return postage on the kits. You should figure about $1 a pound, and within the record there is the weight of the kit. And so if we mail a kit out and it's 14 pounds, you're going to figure your postage is going to be about $14 to mail that back. And we do have information on our LibGuides that talk about the different kits. And so if you want some further information about the STEM or STEAM kits, the fairy tale, folktale kits, and the other kits, please check out that page on our LibGuides. So I did mention the online library resources. There are 2 different packages. One is through Minitex. And this is going to be your Gale, ProQuest, and EBSCO databases. With these packages, we do charge a portion of the cost to schools and public libraries, approximately $1.30, $1.32 per student in grades 9 through 12. We do not charge K-8 students. So if you look at your student population of 9th grade to 12th grade per student, it's roughly around $1.30 per student. And that's what it's going to cost to subscribe to the databases. K-8 have access to it through the high school number. Now, there are some that are purchased through the state library that are going to be available. Some of them are only available through public libraries, but we do have 2 language databases now. We have Mango language and we have Rocket language. Rocket language has a little bit more advanced language courses in it than Mango language, and it also includes the American Sign Language. Another new one is Ethnic News Watch, which is ethnic newspapers from around the world. Similar to ProQuest. It's a newspaper database. And we also have Canopy, streaming video. And that is part of the Library to Go Overdrive Consortium. Rocket Languages, Mango Languages, and Canopy are available through a public library card. Ethnic News Watch would be available through the school. You can either have a local public library card, or if you don't have a public library, you can get a North Dakota State Library card and be able to access those resources. With those types of resources, Mango Languages, the Rocket Language and Canopy, Library to Go, the ebooks, e-audiobooks, you would need to have your own library card because you set up an account with those. Remote access numbers are not going to work for those. And so each student staff must apply for either a public library card or a North Dakota State Library card in order to use those resources. So next we'll talk about my area, training opportunities. I do put a lot of videos and tutorials in Niche Academy. And I am building up one that's going to be specifically for school librarians. I do conduct webinars such as the one I'm doing today on different online library resources or topics within the library community, webinars on the grant application process. I promote WebJunction heavily. WebJunction tends to lean heavily towards public libraries, but there are some really good tutorials and webinars that they do that would fit a school library as well. And I mentioned the LibGuides earlier. We do have LibGuides, and these have all sorts of topics to them. There's our contact information. The top one takes us to the patron services desk. The 800 number goes to the patron services desk as well. The statelib@nd.gov email address. This one gets answered by our patron services department. And since they also do interlibrary loan, you can put your interlibrary loan request. You can just use that one, that email address for any sort of interlibrary loan requests as well. And once again, I'm going to give a plug for Tammy, and there's her contact information. I'm going to switch gears here. I'm going to go back to our home page for a minute because I do want to show you where some of those resources are. So to get to the LibGuides now from our new home page, you can just go right up to the top here, or you can go down here to a tile and you can browse the guides here, and then all the LibGuides are right here. And there is one specifically for school libraries, and there's one specifically for public libraries. And there are all sorts of topics that are going to be in there, including access to the one I mentioned about the STEM kits with all the information. I did mention the library card. We do have a link to the application right at the very top here. And we also have one here on a tile. as well as a link to the catalog and a tile to get into the catalog. And to find our training information, you can go to Training for Libraries. We have a month-long posting of what webinars that are being done, in addition to me sending out the weekly email. Any of the state library hosted webinars, we're loading them up to YouTube. And we also have our self-paced training here. So this is the link to the state library's niche academy. And then we also have the school library one. And we have a link to Web Junction. And all those are under Training for Libraries. We also have the application and information for the Talking Books program. And so if you have any students with a vision impairment that need talking books, you can contact them through that contact information there, either the telephone number, email address, and talk to one of the reader advisors who can walk them through the process of getting signed up for talking books. The last thing I really want to point out is our staff directory. If you need to get a hold of anybody at the state library, we do have a staff directory. Including all of our library specialists in our library development department. If you need to get a hold of the state librarian or anybody in the administration, I'm listed under administration, but you can reach out to me if you have any questions about training, databases. I'm actually listed under fiscal and administrative services, and there's my contact information. Well, if you could think of any questions, please feel free to either reach out to me directly through alpeterson@nd.gov or the state email address, statelib@nd.gov. And with that, have a great day.